All right, welcome to this video. So what I'm going to do today is to show you how to design a poster using Microsoft Word. And this is a non-standard software for designing posters, but I want to show you some interesting ways that you can actually go about designing your poster based on this Microsoft Word. Sit back and relax. Let's get started with this video. So as we get started with this video, so we're going to work with Stephen, who is an undergraduate project student, who is looking to design a poster for his final year poster presentation defense within his university. And he's required to create a poster, and he's been agonizing with what is the best way to actually create this poster. So he's deciding to use Microsoft Word because he's got competence in Microsoft Word, and so we're going to guide him in how he's going to go about doing this. And the first thing we're going to see here is that your poster size actually should be an A4 poster size, and that is different from traditionally designing it an A1 or an A0 poster size, let's say in PowerPoint. But I will explain to you towards the end of the video how to actually deal with this size, dichotomy between an A1 and an A4. So we're going to work with an A4 poster size with dimensions given this way. The orientation that we're going to work with is a portrait orientation. Of course, you can always do a landscape, but for this, we're going to work with a portrait orientation. The recommended font size we're going to use for this sort of Microsoft Word-based presentation is going to be a 12-point Arial. And then there will be a template at the end of the video that you can use. The template that I've used also here, you're going to probably use that. I'll make that available in the download section of this video for you to use if you're watching from YouTube. However, if you're watching from, University of Greenwich, which is the university that Stephen belongs to, then you can also download it from the Project Course Moodle page to sort of help you as a template for this. Some tips that Stephen needs to really be aware of when he's thinking about his poster design is, first and foremost, he needs to sort of structure it properly. So there will be an introduction, so motivation to the study. There has to also be a conclusion to the study. And in between that, you have also the aims, the objectives. You also have to have, the implementation of the project and the key results. The essence of the poster is to present results. The second thing that Stephen needs to be aware of is it makes sense to use sort of bullet points or some sort of, condensed text ideas, blocks of ideas that you present. So in presenting your poster, figures and tables and photographs, images are also useful to highlight the ideas that Stephen want to present. It's also good to number the sequencing of the poster. So we're going to think about that. Either you number or rather use blocks to sort of, capture ideologies, ideas within, that are going to present in the poster. And I would suggest that it makes sense if your poster material is sequential, in which case you can use arrows to connect ideas together or all those kind of things. But we're going to explore this in how we're going to do it in Microsoft Word. References are also useful, but it could be optional. And at the end of the poster, you need to have also your presentation, show off your work beautifully well. And I will show you at the end of the video how Stephen can actually create a QR code that you can scan to assess the work after the student has finished the presentation. Maybe you want to just assess the work online. So I'll show you how to create a QR code that can actually help you do this. So as we get into the mechanics of actually designing this Microsoft Word-based poster, the recommendation first is to sort of capture all the ideas of what you want to present in a Microsoft Word document, like I've seen here. So it's sort of like a summary of all the content. It helps to have that. So for example, what I've got here is the title of the presentation of the poster, the name, supervisors, project background, the aims and objectives, some of the project design methodology. So these are the framework that are going to appear within the poster. So I've got a framework like that and how the implementation is carried out, and then some of the results that you get with that is going to appear in the poster. So this is really an essential step to make sure you represent all the things you want to appear in your poster in a Microsoft Word document, which you're going to then take and put into your PowerPoint or Microsoft Word poster as you begin to work. So this is the first thing, and I've already done that, and we're going to use this for this poster. Okay, so as we get started with actually working on this, the first thing to do clearly here is to think about, so this is an open document. The margin is too large for this kind of presentation. So the first thing we're going to do is to go to the layout and go on to margins and then say, and basically use a really narrow margin. So this is sort of very narrow margin. The idea is that you have a wider space within which you can actually display the content of your poster. And one tab that you'll be working with quite a lot is the Insert tab and under the shelf. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create blocks that sort of capture what we want to do. So I'll put a big block right at the top end here, which represents, the first content that we want to have. So we're going to probably make it a little bit empty. So we're going to put no fill to that. And we'll probably want to make that quite big so that it will capture the title, the logo of the organization, some of the background information you need. And I'll probably make it to be fully flushed to the top and every part of this so that it will completely fully flushed in there. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to create the next entry, which is where the project aims and objectives are. So I'm going to press down Control and Shift and then select that and drag it down. Control, just simply Control and drag it down. You can hold down Shift to make sure that it's aligned as you drag, and when you get to where you want to release. So this time around, I'm now going to make that next column. So this will be the project background and motivation, and then we'll do the same thing. So I'll press down, hold Shift and Control and select, and then come down here, and then I could make this just a little bit inside so that it will become a box of idea. So I'll hold down Shift Control and then go to the other side. So we've got the two entries. Okay, so we have sort of the framework that we're going to work with. So we're not going to be too concerned as to what is going on here. So let's just put a little bit of contrast between the content we have and what's going on in the background. So press down Shift and select every bit of these boxes. And then under the home, under the shape format, let's just put a little fill. So maybe we can put something a bit like white. So let's fill it with white. And then under the same design, we go to page color. So let's just probably put something like black. So instantly you begin to see there's a contrast between the black and what we see in front. First, let's bring in a title to this. And in this title, you go insert under the shape again. So we're going to collect the text box, and then I'll just put the title there. So the title of the poster is basically this. So I'll just select that, and then I'll paste the title as a unit text. So we've got a nice title here, and we don't want the background to that title, so we just take and say no background, and then we can then try and select all the things in the title and increase the size. So by using this button, so we can increase the size until we have it substantially of a size that we want, and then we'll center it. So we've got the title of the poster right at the top there, and we're happy with that. So I'll repeat the same thing by inserting the name of the authors, and then we can again take out tell it no fill and no outline, so that we have a nice title right there. So we can duplicate this and put it here. So we can then put the research group. Then the last thing is to insert a logo. So let's assume we've got the image here in a PowerPoint. So we'll copy that image and we'll go back to the file, which is this file, and then we go there and try and paste. Okay, so the image is somewhere here. So what we need to do, which is very interesting, so you go to here under, we tell it to, okay, bring it to the front. So we tell it to bring it to the front. So it's sort of here, and then we move it into the location where we want it to be. So this is the logo of the university that Stephen works. So clearly we've got a lot of information at the top, so we can just go and reduce that and then move everything. Remember, the framework we had at the beginning was just to get us started. When we go into the next stage, so again, we'll go back and insert and collect and sketch. So this is where we want the project background and motivation, so we can paste that. So if I paste it, and then I can add some sort of formatting around it. So as usual, we will say I don't want any fill, I don't want any outline, and then we're happy with how it is positioned there. And then I can press Shift Control down, drag it down into this space, and enlarge everything so that I can then provide the text for that. Again, I can change that to black, and then I don't want it to be bold, so as part of my home I'll take it out as bold. And we want it to definitely be Arial, and we say we want Arial 12, so put it on the side. So we can then go back and collect the original data that we want. So under the project aims and background, we've got all this information, so we'll Control C to copy, and then go back here and then paste it in that environment. So obviously it's too much, so all we need to do is to sort of reduce the size of it until it fits nicely into that window. All right, so we've got the introduction done properly. I mean, you could also select all of it and just justify it so that it feels and looks really nice on that space. So we can then take this up to somewhere around here, and then select this, press Ctrl Shift together, select that and drag it into that space. So our next aim is the aims and objective. So again, we paste the aims and objective, And then we can also borrow that information here, to fill into that next space. So we'll copy the aims and objective, and then within that space, so we have everything. Okay, so we can bring this back up. So again, I will drag this into that space and drag that title into that space. And then, so the next thing we want is a project design and methodology. So we can Control ES. So we'll put it a non-formatted text so that it's got the original formatting. And then what we want here is basically this information here. So we copy that and then Alt ES, paste that unformatted text. So we've got it right at the top end. So we're happy with that. So it keeps inheriting the formatting that we have been establishing before. And then we'll just go here and Control C to copy, and then come back here and paste it. So we have to select the space in between to paste it. So if you paste it, it's sort of hiding behind, and then we'll go to picture and then position it, wrap the text and bring it to the front. So it's now we can manipulate it, and we just need to move it into the environment where we want it to be. So this is something you have to keep doing when you're dealing with images, because they're usually not quite standard in the way they appear. So we've got our information, which is what we have as our project implementation. And then we keep moving around. Remember, we have already a structure in place. So I'll drag both this one, Control and Shift selected. I'll drag into that place. And then I also drag this one into that space so that I'll keep inheriting those formatting. Now we're going to project implementation. So we select project implementation, select that, Control or Alt ES. So we've got project implementation, and what is the text that goes in here. So we've got this information here, and we'll just do the same. So we go back there, Control Alt ES, and then, so we've got it, sort of everything is there. So we just need to put our data here. So there are two project implementation data, this one, so we collect that. And then we'll hide it somewhere around here. Okay, so we Control V, so we bring it out there. And then we can just go and paste it where we want it. So this is our project implementation, one of the first steps of the project implementation. So we'll put that. And there's probably another space for some, so which is the structure parameters of the stent. So we'll probably drag this into that place. So we want that date as our implementation, and then we'll paste it right in that same environment. So let's just paste it. So again, it's sort of hiding behind everything. So we go figure, wrap text, and we'll bring it to the front, and then we can then move it to where we want it to be. So, and clearly we need to make it smaller. So if we have an overview, so the left hand side of the poster is looking good, so we'll now work on the right hand side of the poster. So we'll collect the key results, and like we did before, so I'm just going to drag, Control Shift, drag it into that environment. So we've got that, so select Control A, Alt ES, and whatever I've copied, I'll paste it into that. So this is that. Just enlarge it to make sure every bit of that is represented. So we will need to, say these are the 6 candidate designs. And like we did before, we can just drag this into that space. Control Alt, drag it into that space. Control as you drag and you release. And then Control A, Alt ES, which is pasting special, so that we've got the actual formatting inherited and carried across. So we'll now collect this data, and then like we did before, you paste it here, and obviously it will always go behind. So you go to bring it to the front, in front of the text, so that we can make the adjustment as we want. So we'll basically put that data right here. So that looks good. So we've got another data that still form part of that according to our plan. So we select that, and you drag this, Control Shift, put it into that environment, Control 8, select Alt ES, and then that becomes formatted text. So it's correct, this formatted text. So we collect the data that we want, and then, as usual, click the space and paste it. So we select it and then go to the picture and bring it to the front. So again, we adjust it, and then we'll move it into the space to make sure that we have the right orientations. So we've got the first set of data result, and we can then do the same, Control Shift, drag this to the next space. And then the next set of data we want is the key results, model values, and ranking. So we Control 8, select or Alt ES to paste it as unformatted text. So it goes in that space. So we've got the first data point. So we'll select that, and all we need to do is to drag by pressing Control, drag it into that space, and then we can Control 8, select or Alt ES to paste what we've copied, so that we have that information around available for us here. So this is the first set of the data, so we can just paste it again in that space. So you go to the back, so picture, bring it to the front so that it becomes text that we can manipulate. So we can now move it into the space where we think it should be. Okay, so the next thing is another set of data, which we can just copy that data and also put it right here. So we paste it there. Okay, again, it goes to the back, we go picture. We want to bring it to the front. As we did before, adjust it accordingly and then move it into the space where it needs to be. So clearly it needs to be a lot smaller depending on what we want. Okay, so I'm just going to make it a bit smaller here and probably adjust this one so that it would, if you notice, I always adjust it from the side so that I can keep the aspect ratio of the images. So I'll put this here, and maybe this text here I can then decide to put on the side of this image, but I need to drag this into this position and adjust it so that it can fit into this space. So again, these are the interesting things you may have to do. Alt ES, and then you paste it so that data is here, you know, in a full furnished font manner. So you can see the layout of the poster is already taking shape and it's looking excellent. So we want to think about the conclusions. So again, I'll select my conclusion, and then you can drag it into that space if you want. So I'll drag it into this space, which is my conclusion, and then just zoom in, Control 8, select or Alt ES, and paste it as an unformatted Unicode text. The idea is that so that you keep the formatting of the original text that is in the whole system. So I'll just press Control and drag this into this space, which is where I'm going to now put all my conclusions. So I'll select all the information that we want, and then go into this space, select all. I'll select that. I can go here and say paste special. It will do the same thing and provide the unit text code, and then it will appear right here. Okay, so I'm going to probably adjust it so that, you know, we have this space available for us. So what we've got here is that we've got the full structure of the poster, everything formatted properly. So if we look at the overall view, so it does take shape, and we're kind of happy with the way it is. So Steven can just go ahead and put an image there so that people can know who is presenting the poster, and, you know, if they want to contact you, they can also you can put a bit of a contact image for your presentation there. I think we should also do, which is becoming quite popular these days, is making sure that you've got a way to scan the data. Okay, so this is my Google Gmail account. So I've got a poster called that. So all I need to here is to file upload. So I'll have to upload the file that I've got. So I'll paste that location where the file is, and then so I've got it uploaded into that environment. So the next thing I just need to do is to create a link. So I want to share it with the world. So I'm going to create share. So under the share option, obviously you need to grant people access. So you want an unrestricted access so that anyone that's got the link will be able to access that, and then you click copy. So we've copied the link. So this is now an online environment where this data will always be. So you copy that link, and then we can go back to another website. So QR.io, which is a free online data. So we paste the link that we want there. So this is the link to the file. And look, there are some options that we can work with. So we can change the color of how we want it. We can also change the logo. We want that logo. So maybe you can put a logo of your university, whatever you want. But this is really important. So you can actually use this to say scan me. So I will normally want this to be scanned so that this becomes the link, the QR code to that file. So the scan me option is there. So you now download it. It will normally require you to sign up. So you download a copy, and then you return back to the file. So I return back to the file that I've been working on. So again, I'll just paste the new information. So again, it's there. So I'll bring it to the front as we've been doing. So bring it to the front and then adjust it. So this way you have a QR code that is going to always be with your poster when you print it, so that people want to contact you, get more information about you or whatever. So that any information you want, you can put on this QR code. You can add the text next to it, and we can actually, maybe just to highlight it a bit, we can bring it out by using a fill, probably maybe something you can have a field to highlight it, and then we maybe also insert within the shapes maybe an arrow if you want, a horizontal arrow that goes into that location that connects you between that and that. So this could be just a way to sort of tell the viewers what they can do in terms of engaging with this. So again, we can also make it to be a bolder color, and then maybe we'll take out the outline. Okay. So this could be just a way to help the viewer to find more information about you. So you can see everything looks perfectly in order. So maybe you want to use a different highlighter for the top, and also maybe the same kind of highlighter for the bottom, just to give a bit of context to what you're trying to do, what's happening at the top and the bottom. So under the shape, we could say, okay, filling. So this way you've got sort of a structure in place with the top and the bottom. But clearly the next thing we need to think about is how you actually take this thing. So we can say, okay, file, save as a copy, and we need to save it as a PDF. So the idea of saving it as a PDF is so that you have it in a format that you can then take to go and print. So if we open the PDF copy that we found here, so, and this is a poster that basically has finished designing. One of the main reasons why you can then print this to very high resolution because of the resolution. So if you zoom in, you can see, because it's a Microsoft Word document, the resolution of the images are so amazing. So even if you scale it up and try to print it, it will still look quite good. Quality of the images are fine. So you can then, when you print it, when you go to print, provided you have a printer that got A1 size, when you go to file, print. So I haven't got a printer that can print to that scale. So when you want to print, so you select poster, but then you have to do the page setup, and you select the right size that you want. Clearly the printer that I'm using doesn't have that, but if you have the option of A whatever, then you can select it and then it will adjust and print it to the scale that you want. So that's how you can design a good looking, wonderful poster using Microsoft Word. If you really want to learn how to do this using PowerPoint, then this is a video for you. Or if you want to use a dedicated graphic tool, an online graphic tool, Canva, this is a video for you to look at. Thank you for your interest in this video, and I'll see you in the next.